What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we're going to be talking about everything you need to know about the secret area of the Leviathan raid called the Underbelly. We'll be explaining what the area is, what you can do there, the secret exotic chests, how to take shortcuts to specific parts of the raid, and also some Easter eggs in the section too. I'll also be going over how to get in there solo if you can't find other people to do the levers with you, or if you just want to explore for yourself. It's honestly a really cool area. I'd recommend just checking it out because you can get lost for hours just wandering around. And it's also worth going in solo because if you have the irrigation, ventilator, or aqueduct key, those chests don't require any puzzles or defeating watchers, so you can hop in solo to grab your chest, and that's why it's helpful to know how to get in here solo. And I'll talk about all 9 chests and how to easily grab them later in the video. But honestly, the amount of playable space here is probably bigger than the amount of playable space inside the actual raid itself. Like, it's nearly to scale of the Dreadnought. It's seriously impressive. So to explain what the Underbelly actually is, essentially, it's almost like a secret patrol mode where you and some other people, or even solo, can hop in with your keys you earn throughout the raid and open chests, and also take shortcuts to get into certain areas of the actual boss fight encounters. Now, to start this, you of course go to the lever combination room. This is under the main area you spawn. Now, there are 6 levers in a line. The combination is 1, 5, 3, 2, 4, 6. So press them in that order. And like I said, you can do it solo. With 2 or more people, it's really easy. But as you can see, I put the Mitre multi-tool on for increased mobility and also max mobility armor, and I did it solo. It takes a couple of tries, but you can easily access this Underbelly just by yourself. Now, there are also some other ways to get in here other than the pipe section. You can also open up the waterfall on the left, which takes you into a different part of the Underbelly. You open this through the lever room also on the left, which is through the big door, and this requires 6 people to hit all the levers. There's also a front door which only requires 4 people to stand on the pressure plates. You step on them in different orders until the symbol on the plate matches the same one on Callus's head. So match them and the door opens. And again, that takes you into a different section of the Underbelly. So there's definitely multiple ways to actually get in there. Now, I mentioned being able to take shortcuts to each part of the raid that you want to. Now, it doesn't seem like you can actually skip parts of the raid, so go to Callus or the Gauntlet if you want to. You can't just skip stuff, but if you do have the checkpoint for the area, it saves you going all the way through the middle and then doing the door encounter, so it does save you a bit of time, essentially. Now, if you're at Callus, for example, if you have that checkpoint, you don't have to do the standard bearer encounter. You just run through the Underbelly towards Callus's room, which is marked with the chalice icon. Now, the Gauntlet is marked with the icon of the axes, the Beast Garden with the beast, and the baths with the sun. So it's an easy way to know what way you're going. By the icons, it'll be over the door. Just follow the icon and you'll go towards that boss room. As you can see, there are multiple secret passages like this bath section. There's one that opens up this concrete wall behind one of the plates, and also a different one which opens up a pipe. It's crazy to imagine while doing this raid, we had no idea we were standing next to these secret passages that lead to such huge areas. There's also one that goes to the Beast Gardens and of course Callus's room too. But of course, like I said, if you don't have the checkpoint for that certain boss fight, you won't be able to go there, the door won't open. But the point of this is it saves you time of doing that door section with the standard bearer. You just go straight to the boss fight you want to do. So it's also pretty cool to see here just the little Easter eggs of how the ship actually works, and also the encounters, the 4 boss fights. So you can see the 4 gold chains, which are the ones in the bath section. So if you ever wondered where those big 4 chains and the platforms you're standing on go, this is actually where they come from. There's also the aqueduct, which supplies the water to the baths. You can see here, this is where some of the plants are grown for the Beast Garden, and also the drain section, which waters the plants. There's also these big generators, which power the Gauntlet running section and the electricity for it. And also this big wine room, which you can see all the grapes and royal jelly, which goes into Callus's room. So I love how it's almost like a real behind the scenes look at the encounters. It makes it seem like a real place. And you can also see how the World Eater section works, where the rocks that it takes in are basically broken down and burned. So it's really clever how it's a real functioning area. You can see the behind the scenes of it. Now, in terms of those chests, you have 9 of them in total in this Underbelly. They drop mostly legendary engrams, Callus tokens, which you can spend at the sweeper bot, and a good chance at exotic engrams as well, which is nice. They are exotic chests. Now, there are 9 of them. They open with 9 specific keys, and these keys are obtained by doing the raid randomly. So once you beat an encounter, you might be awarded with one. So the idea is that you do the raid, you get your loot, and also a couple of keys. And for more loot, you can hop into this mini patrol section of the Leviathan and do more puzzles to access those chests for more loot drops. Now, it's important to note that something Bungie only just recently announced is that these keys are set to disappear every reset, and they'll be taken from your inventory every Tuesday. I guess it's supposed to be some kind of kick to make you spend them before they reset every week, but I personally don't think it should be like this. It does make sense for you to earn keys and them to be disappearing on you if you earn them in the first place. If they're additional, then maybe, but sometimes in the encounters, your only reward was a key, and for that to disappear after a week doesn't make too much sense to me. I mean, a lot of people share this opinion, so Bungie may change it in the future, but as of right now, they're set to be taken away every reset. And also, to make things worse, there's currently a bug where lots of people have had their keys taken away early. Obviously, that wasn't supposed to happen, and I actually lost all of my keys. They were taken away from me. But obviously, that isn't supposed to happen. Every reset, though, they are supposed to be taken away. So definitely worth keeping in mind, and make sure you're spending those keys often. Now, talking about those 9 chests, 3 of them are pretty simple. You just grab them easily, don't require any puzzles or stealth mechanics, and 6 of them are guarded by these watchers. They're pretty simple, but to defeat them, I'll explain that in a second. But firstly, the 3 that don't require any stealth puzzles or watchers, these are the Aqueduct, which is the big spinning water pipe, the ventilator, which is the big giant red fans, of course, and the irrigation, which is where you climb in the giant ceiling pipes and it's pretty far into the underbelly. Now, in terms of the other 6 chests and how to defeat them, they're all basically the exact same. They all have 4 watchers guarding them, and they all have a door which is being guarded, and if you complete the encounter, the door opens up. So they're all exactly the same. They look a bit different, the layout is different, and they can seem intimidating, but honestly, they're not as hard as they look. Every single room just has 4 watchers. All 6 of these chests are the exact same, just in slightly different layouts and sizes. So essentially, you need to kill all 4 of the watchers in a window of a few seconds before they call for reinforcements. If they do that, you need to kill them all and then reset the room, go out and pull the lever to reset it. But to do this, every one of these rooms can have 4 watchers. I'd recommend you go in with 4 people, maybe 3. But if you sneak up on a watcher, avoid their red beam so you won't get spotted, and it moves around in a clockwise fashion. You can just kind of look at what they're doing and keep on following them around to make sure you aren't inside the red beam. So the idea is that the 4 of you need to find your own watcher and stand next to them, and then you all hit them together. One hit them with a sword, and if you kill them all pretty quickly in the same window, the door will unlock. So it's quite simple. You can either go invisible as a hunter, so throw the smoke bombs that turn you and your team invisible, and you can walk right through their red beams. And if you do fail an encounter, just walk out the room, make sure everything's dead, pull the lever, and it will reset the room for you, and you go again. So it's very, very easy, and you can just rinse and repeat until you kill all 4 watchers and unlock that chest. So in the small rooms, they're all pretty close together, and they're quite easy because you can get them all very quickly, so you can get multiple at the same time. The big rooms, you can't do that, like the pipeline, but this is honestly quite easy as well because they're so spread apart and far apart, you've got a ton of space to sneak up on them. So what I'd recommend is you go in, get spotted, so you memorize where all 4 of the watchers are, and you kill all the enemies, reset the room, and then you know what you're doing the next time. So some of them you can actually solo if you're really, really skilled and really quick. You can like shoot rockets and then do reload dodge, shoot more, pop a 6-shot golden gun, kill whatever's left, but that only really works when they're really, really close together. The small rooms, you should have at least like 3 people. The big ones require 4 because they're so spread apart. You can't really kill them all that quickly. But honestly, like I said, they aren't that difficult. They do seem very intimidating with the stealth and the reinforcements, but all you have to remember is that there's only 4 of them in there. Sneak up behind each one hit them with the sword uppercut, and they're all done pretty much. Now, in terms of navigating through the underbelly, it can seem quite daunting and like a labyrinth sometimes, but honestly, there are only few parts with multiple choices. Most parts are simply one-way corridors that lead to one section, and pretty quickly, once you start exploring, you'll recognize which leads to where, and you'll know your way around basically. So it's just a case of figuring out what chests you need and keeping on going until the area you need pops up below the radar. That's how you know you're somewhere with a chest. Now, in terms of the whole key and loot situation, I think it's a bit of a mess, honestly. I think Bungie should just make it so they don't reset, because for my personal loot, I only got like an auto rifle and a chest piece from the entire raid. The rest of my stuff were tokens and duplicates, which also seems to be a common problem. But the fact that for an encounter your loot is to get this key, which is basically spending another hour inside the underbelly trying to earn your loot again, and getting teammates together is also a challenge in itself. But regardless of that bug that took away a lot of our keys before we could spend them, I think the system is a little bit too harsh. As my suggestion, I'd say that all the chests that require keys should be plainly accessible to everyone, so you can go in and get your loot pretty easily just through the underbelly. And then on top of that, if you want more loot, you can then do the watcher challenges, which are just free bonus chests, no keys required, and it's basically more extra loot with the extra challenge of the puzzle. But I'm not a fan of the idea that my reward for an encounter is having to get through other people to go and beat another encounter to get more engrams. It should be a bit more accessible, and with the puzzles being optional extra stuff on top of your loot you already got. But I think the underbelly for the most part is just really, really awesome. I cannot believe an area so big was kept a secret, and just the size and the detail of everything. Like, I genuinely think the play space down there is bigger than the play space above the raid, and I pretty much see this Leviathan as almost like a raid and also patrol space underneath where you can get more keys and more loot. But there you go, that's everything you need to know about the Leviathan and my thoughts on them. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, then a like rating is always much appreciated. If you want to see a video made about the Trials of the 9 flawless loot and some of the best weapons you can get there, then click the image on screen right now, and I'll see you guys next one.